What is going on, you guys? My name is Nick, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to my final predictions for the 95th Annual Oscars. Now, I know that the ceremony isn't for almost another 2 months, but I like to be early to the party, so here are my predictions for the main 20 categories. Starting off with costume design, we have Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Elvis, Babylon, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, which if you haven't seen Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, I recommend you check it out. It's a nice little fun movie to watch. Now, all of these choices are amazing in the realm of costume design, but I think Black Panther: Wakanda Forever has it in the bag, much like they did back in the 2019 ceremony. Achievement in makeup and hairstyling, we have All Quiet on the Western Front, The Batman, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Elvis, and The Whale. Now, I think the obvious choice here is going to be The Whale, and that is my prediction in this category. But if The Batman could somehow sweep in and take it, I do think the prosthetics, the makeup in that film, specifically with Colin Farrell's Penguin, it's just much better than The Whale's fat suit, but I don't see the Academy going for that. I think they're going to go for The Whale with this one. Production design is stacked from top to bottom. We have All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Babylon, Elvis, and The Fabelmans. Now, as much as I wasn't a big fan of Elvis just in general, I do think all of the technical aspects are on point. It's just I'm not a big fan of Baz's editing style, and just his style of filmmaking in general is just not my thing. But I do think if Elvis took this category, I'd kind of be okay with it, but I do think that this is going to go to Babylon. Now, as much as the mainstream audience, along with the Academy, just weren't that big on this film at all, I do think they have to recognize that in this category, they absolutely killed it. I mean, the way that they brought back the early 1920s all the way up until like the mid-50s is just, it's immaculate. It's awe-inspiring. And the film does take place, if you haven't seen it, from like the late 20s all the way up until the mid-50s. So they capture that entire time period. They recreate all of it, and it looks fantastic. I haven't seen a whole lot of the nominees on this list, but I have seen a couple, and that is the documentary feature list. So just to get all the nominees recognized, we have All That Breathes, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, Fire of Love, A House Made of Splinters, and Nalvani. Now, like I said, I've only seen 2 out of the 5 of these nominees, but I do think All the Beauty and the Bloodshed has this one in the bag. It's beyond criminal that Decision to Leave isn't even on this list, because if it was, I would choose it to win this category, but it's not. Our nominees for Best International Feature are All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina 1985, Close, EO, and The Quiet Girl. And I think All Quiet just has this one in the bag. I mean, it's the only film out of all the movies on this list that is being recognized in other categories that's actually being nominated. That's just always a clear dead ringer. That particular film might win in international. Or in the case of Parasite, it might just win Best Picture. Now, I wish this category was a bit of a closer race, but I think animated feature is 110% going to Guillermo del Toro for his adaptation of Pinocchio. But I do want to recognize everyone else that is on this list. And we have Marcel the Shell, Puss in Boots, Turning Red, and The Sea Beast. The only one on this list that I haven't seen is The Sea Beast, but man, Marcel the Shell, Turning Red, even Puss in Boots are phenomenal films. I just wish it wasn't 100% dead set on Pinocchio right now. This again is another very straightforward category here with visual effects. Avatar: The Way of Water is 100% gonna take it. I think if you disagree with that, you might be doing some sort of drugs that I'm not familiar with yet, and you should totally slide those over. I'm just joking, but there's no argument here. I mean, I could say the other nominees, but they're on screen. They're not gonna win. It's Avatar. In the category of Best Sound, we have All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Elvis, and Top Gun. I think this hands down has to go to Top Gun. I think the sound in all of these movies are amazing, especially in The Batman, because like I said in my nomination prediction video, I hope The Batman would get in, and thank God it did. But I think Top Gun's sound is just, it's so essential to the escapism that is Top Gun Maverick. Sitting in that theater, feeling the vibrations, the rumble from the engines, you genuinely feel like you're in a fighter pilot right next to Tom Cruise. And it is so immersive. It's immersive on the level of what 3D and visual effects has to do with Avatar. This is unfortunately the only award that RRR is up for this year at the Oscars, and I really hope they do take it home for Naatu Naatu. It is a amazing song, but all the other ones on this list are pretty good too. I mean, we have Lift Me Up, Hold My Hand, This Is a Life, and I haven't heard Tell It Like a Woman, but it's on this list, so I assume it's gotta be decent, right? Naatu Naatu is where it's at, man. Score is another technical category that my beloved Babylon should win. If you haven't heard one of Justin Hurwitz's scores yet, please go out and listen to them. My favorite is probably La La Land, but First Man and Whiplash are perfect as well. but I think Babylon is my second favorite. So La La Land, Babylon, then probably Whiplash, and then First Man. But I do have to recognize that The Fabelmans, Banshees of Inisherin, All Quiet, and Everything Everywhere All at Once have phenomenal scores as well. I do think it's a little weird that Women Talking didn't get on this list, considering how amazing that score was. I digress. As long as Babylon wins, I'm okay. Banshees, Everything Everywhere, Elvis, Tar, and Top Gun round out our editing nominations for this year, and I can really see it going one of three ways. Either Elvis is going to take it for Baz's hyper-phonetic, annoying, mind-boggling, mind-fucking altering editing. Everything Everywhere could snag it as a part of their package deal for their narrative to win Best Picture. And I honestly think Top Gun probably has the best chance out of everything here, because I do think the Academy wants to give Top Gun a decent amount of recognition here, and editing as well as sound is one of the few categories that they can take home and not be too worried about the Best Picture race at the end of the day. Cinematography is a category that I just wish had some better nominations in it. I mean, I understand that the whole point of it is to judge the cinematography, and that's why Deakins is here for Empire of Light and why Bardo was here as well. But outside of those two things, those are the only real things that work in the movie. The scripts are ass, the story is just not good, but at least the visual candy is okay. But I do think All Quiet on the Western Front has this one in the bag, and I really hope it does, because the cinematography in that movie is, I mean, every frame is a wallpaper-worthy picture. Supporting actor is already a sealed deal, but I do want to recognize everyone that is in this category, because they all turned in phenomenal performances, especially Brian Tyree Henry for his turn in Causeway. I was really surprised to see him actually make the list, and I'm really, really glad that he did. But along with Brian Tyree, we have Brendan Gleeson and Barry Keoghan for their roles in Banshees of Inisherin, and Judd Hirsch's brief but really essential role in The Fabelmans. But I do think this one is going to go to Ke Huy Quan. I mean, I am just so excited to see his speech so far up until this point at the Golden Globes, at SAG, everything. It's just been perfect. He's been tearfully excited and accepting, and just the narrative for him this year is perfect. I love it. Supporting actress is a really exciting category that I genuinely wish I could say that I'm going to predict Hong Chau here, but I can't. But if her name is read and she wins that award, I will lose it on stream, because that is my favorite supporting performance of the year. But I think our two ladies from Everything Everywhere, Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie Hsu, also turned in phenomenal performance, specifically Stephanie. And of course, Karen Condon was essential to Banshees of Inisherin. I think the queen herself, Angela Bassett, has this one in the bag. At first, admittedly, I was not that big on her performance in Wakanda Forever, but upon a couple more rewatches, I'm 100% all on board for this one. She deserves this Oscar. Next up are my two favorite categories of the evening, besides picture, of course. But these are the two screenplay nominations. If you guys don't already know, I like to consider myself a writer. I like to write my own screenplays. It's really fun to do that, and I hope to one day make an actual movie. That'd be really cool. But up first, we have adapted screenplay. In between Women Talking, Glass Onion, All Quiet, Top Gun, and Living, it's really hard to say who's going to win here. I mean, just to choose one adapted screenplay to rule them all, it's a hard choice. And I like that it's a hard choice, because all of these screenplays, even in the original screenplay category, of course, I would just kick back and read these. They're so well written. But I do think this category is going to go to Women Talking, and it is probably the most solid script out of all of these. The original screenplay, and we have Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Banshees of Inisherin, The Fabelmans, Triangle of Sadness, and of course Todd Field's deep, complex character study that is Tar. Now, my favorite writing of this year is, of course, going to be Tar. I've been saying that since I got out of the premiere, but I do think the Academy is going to really go for either Banshees or Everything Everywhere. Probably Everything Everywhere, and that's going to be my prediction, just because it fits the perfect narrative for its run to Best Picture. Even though I do think Tar is the better written script, and I do think a lot of these other movies might just be better written than Everything Everywhere, but I think the package narrative is perfect for this category with Everything Everywhere. You guys keep saying it, so you already know it. I am a Michelle Yeoh stan, but we do have to recognize the other phenomenal ladies on this list. Ana de Armas, Andrea Riseborough, I believe that's how you say it. I might have just butchered her name by accident, and I'm sorry, forgive me. But Michelle Williams, and fuck you, the Academy, for not including Danielle Deadwyler on this list. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't. And if you think her performance is overrated, can you genuinely tell me why? And if your argument is going to be, she cried for 2 hours, it's bullshit. Yeah, she has some extreme scenes of emotion in the film, but most of it is her raising awareness for what happened to her son. She's fighting the racial injustice in the South in that period of time. There is more than just her crying over her dead son. And the fact that we're dumbing down her performance to just a couple of tears, it's really bullshit to me. But that's another rant entirely. And of course, Blanchett is on this list, and I think she is turning in one of, if not the best performance of her entire career with Tar. But I think the narrative this year is so strong from Michelle Yeoh that she just has to take it. I'm actually really happy with the nominations that we have this year for lead actor. We have Brendan Fraser, Colin Farrell, Bill Nighy, or is it Bill Nighy? I'm not entirely sure. Correct me in the comments, please. And of course, the brilliant Paul Mescal, that I am so happy that he ended up making this list. It is more than deserved. But really, only one can win, and I think we all know who that is, and that is Brendan Fraser. I am so excited to cry alongside with him during his acceptance speech. Brendan, you deserve this one, man. I am so happy for you. This is easily one of the best and most exciting list of directors that we've had in the past few years at the Oscars, and if you disagree with me, that's totally okay. But from Steven Spielberg to Ruben Östlund to Martin McDonagh, Todd Field, and the Daniels, I don't know what better list you could really ask for. If you want to be a director, watching any one of these films, especially the behind-the-scenes featurettes for all of these movies, you are going to learn so much. These guys really love and have an extreme passion for what they do, and I mean they have to. They're performing at the highest level of their talent. But man, all of these guys are terrific choices, but I do think the Daniels are going to take this category as a part of their package run. And here we are, everybody, the final award, the one that you guys have all been waiting for, Best Picture. Alright, so who are our nominees? If you haven't heard of them already, here they are. We have Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Banshees of Inisherin, The Fabelmans, Top Gun Maverick, Tar, Elvis, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. Now, of course, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to win this category, but please don't let that, easy prediction, that easy choice that everyone on their lists are pretty much going to be making deter you from watching the 8 other films on this list. I think if you're going to skip any one of these movies, it should be Elvis. Yes, everything on this list you guys should check out, even Elvis. I think you should 100%. But that's my final predictions, you guys. Everything Everywhere All at Once will hopefully win Best Picture. I do think it deserves it, regardless if the narrative is perfect for it or not. Back when I saw that movie when it originally released, all the way back in March of last year, that was my favorite movie of the year. It beat The Batman immediately. It took #1, and it remained #1 until the end of the year. So I'm not hopping on the bandwagon that is Everything Everywhere All at Once. I've loved this movie since it came out. In fact, it's one of my top 5 movies of all time. And I'm not exaggerating. I love this movie. I could throw it on right now and rewatch it. In fact, they're putting it back in theaters near me on Monday, and I'm taking 6 of my closest friends to go see it because I want them to have the experience that I had, or at least something similar to it. And so far, the people that I have shown the movie have loved it. And that's not an understatement. Now, maybe I'm overhyping it a little bit, and a lot of you think it's just overrated, but to me, it's not. It is the best picture of 2022, and I sure hope it does win this year. And those are my final predictions for the 95th Annual Oscars, guys. What is on your guys' list, and what do you think about mine? Feel free to leave those thoughts in the comment section below, and let's talk all about it. I've got a lot of fun videos planned for you guys. I am almost finished editing my reading comments video, and I'm so excited for you guys to see that. There are a lot of goofy comments that we get to talk about. But if you guys are here at 150 subscribers, thank you so much. This is no exaggeration, I love each and every single one of you guys, regardless of how big this channel gets, whether it's 1,000 or 1,000,000, or if we just cap out at 150. Thank you guys all for being here. I love and appreciate every single one of you guys. It makes me so excited and happy to see that people like to hear what I have to say about my passion, that is movies. Stay safe out there, you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.